we're gonna kick it off. This is the only time I'm gonna talk. You guys, for right now, we want all the selectees to have their cameras on. All the genuines can just turn off theirs so that we can see the selectees, and just do a brief introduction so we know who you are, where you're from, all that stuff. And whichever one of the chiefs is leading, whichever one of the chiefs that's going to step up, their camera should be on while they're talking to the selects and so forth. If you want to do a one-on-one, you have 5 minutes. You can actually do a one-on-one with that select. So for right now, just the selects cameras on so we see them. And you guys, you should know how to do this. Just go ahead and introduce yourself so we know who you are. Because some of us just came on, some of us are just came from work and everything. All right. So you guys have it. I'm gonna log off. I'm not gonna log off. I'm just gonna turn my cameras off and just let's all be respectful and just enjoy. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'll kick it off. My name is MAC Select Marcus Phelps. I'm from Long Island, New York. Got about 14 years in the Navy, came in active duty. 2 deployments, one at Issa Air Base, Bahrain. Second one with NSWDG DevGru. Just recently came home. On the civilian side of the house, I'm a New York City cop for about 10 years. My wife's also a cop. And we're married and no kids.
I'll go next. Chief Select Parker Spencer, Hospital Corpsman. 13 years total in the Navy. I did 9 years active. I did a few deployments on active duty with the Marines over to Iraq and Afghanistan. And been in the reserves 4 years now, currently with ESG 7 in St. Louis locally, and then cross-assigned into Special Operations Command CENTCOM down in MacDill Air Force Base. Born and raised in St. Louis and live here locally. I'm a firefighter paramedic, married with 3 kids.
Okay, I'll go next. I am ITC Amber Flumate. I'm originally from Pennsylvania. I'm FTS, have been FTS my entire career. And my first command was VR-48 at a C-20 squadron. Then I went to Nosc Ventura County. From there, I went to VR-57 in San Diego. And now I am with NIFA Region Southeast in Jacksonville, Florida. I have been in the Navy for 12 years. And I am married to my husband, Sal. And together we have a daughter, Emma.
All right, I'll go next. I am Chief Select LaBreche, CTI type. I'm a Korean linguist. I've been in almost 21 years. In 3 days, it'll be 21 years. Started off active duty, did a couple of years of school, spent almost 4 years in South Korea working for an agency. And when I got off active duty, I affiliated with the reserves right away. I've been at 3 different NOSCs over the past 14 years. Lots of active duty orders, worked in Hawaii because my husband was stationed out there. He was active duty Army. He's retired now. I've also worked on a couple of counter narcotics missions in Tampa when we lived in Florida. Currently, I live in Arlington, Virginia. I am with NOSC Baltimore. And on the civilian side, I work for the Drug Enforcement Agency as an intel analyst. I have 2 stepkids who are both fully grown and don't live with me anymore. So the only people I have here are my husband and my cat.
That's awesome.
ITC Select Smith from Nosc Atlanta. I'm currently attached to SEAL Team 18. I work for the IWC department. I also fly UAVs for SEAL Team 18. My civilian job, I'm a police officer, been a police officer for 15 years. I work on the gang task force and the SWAT team. I am divorced and have 4 sons, 17, 14, 11, and 5.
All right, HMC Select Barton, born and raised in St. Louis area. I'm married with 2 kids, currently stationed in St. Louis, 3rd Battalion, 23rd Marines. We're spread out around 4 different states, have roughly 1,000 Marines, and yeah, happy to be here.
MISC Select Thompson. I'm from Kansas City, moved out to St. Louis in 2015. Been in for 9 years, deployed to SOCCENT down in Tampa, 2015, and I've been on orders up here around St. Louis ever since. I think I'm the last one.
That is. All right, Genuines, you guys can take it from here.
Yeah, everybody, Chief Garcia, HMC type, best rated in the Navy, hoo-yah. All right, been in 17 years, stationed coast to coast, FTS my whole career. Done it all from a NOS to a squadron, Marine, Seabees, ship, flag command. I've done a couple of flag commands, RCC. So I got a little bit of experience in everywhere. Married to my lovely wife, Leela, for 10 years. She is a legal analyst, works for the Office of the Judge Advocate General. She's way smarter than me. I don't know why she's married me. I play the guitar. I have 5 cats. Yeah, we fostered and then we ended up failing on a really tough batch we had. So we ended up taking them all, but we still foster, and that's kind of what we do with our free time. Hoping to hear from each of you on some of your questions later on after all the Genuines introduce themselves. Nice to meet you all.
I can go next. ITC Vanessa Griffin. I'm also a SEAL Team 18. Hey, Jeff. What's up, man? Congratulations on your selection. I do have a charge written up, and I'm just going to pick one little section of it to focus on. I think the most important thing that you guys have to worry about as you become senior enlisted leaders is building trust within your department, because without trust, you don't have anything. You can only be as influential as your E6 and below let you be. So if you don't take the time to establish that rapport and to actually care about their lives, care about what they need to develop and what they, just make so that they know they're not alone and they're recognized, and you can provide them with a path to move forward. So they see that they can trust that you have their back no matter what. And if you don't have trust, and they will only do what they have to for you. They won't meet that standard of excellence that we all want to maintain. And they will just wait you out. They'll wait you out for a better leader, or even worse, they'll just wait out their contract. So if you're not providing them with the support that they need, they will go looking elsewhere for that. And sailors tend to make their career decisions based on where their life is in that moment. So just keep that in mind. Every decision that you make from now on affects whether you are that chief that they use as a bad example, who they don't want to be like, or the chief that when they make chief, you pop in their head that they want to call. The one that they actually look up to and want to work with, and have be their team leader. So yep, that's all I'm going to do for now, so that we can move on. But again, congratulations.
All right, I'll go next. MCC Gina Daniels. I am in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm attached to the Vice Chinpo office in the Pentagon, so I do all the public affairs, all that kind of stuff. I was active duty for 11 years. I've been a reservist for 7 now, I think almost 7. And just briefly, I'll tell you a little bit about my charge. I talk a lot about humility in my charge. Humility is my favorite trait in all people I meet. So I talk about a humble confidence, because to be humble doesn't mean that you're meek. It doesn't mean you're less than. It doesn't, people confuse humility with things that it's not. And they confuse confidence with things it's not. They think confidence is an arrogance, or confidence is a boastfulness or a proudness. And it's not those things. There's confidence and there's humility. And when you combine those two, it's almost the perfect marriage for sailors to feel comfortable to come to you. They'll know you're confident, but you're not arrogant, so they're not going to be afraid of you. They're going to trust you. And they're going to know, like, you know what you're doing, but you're not boastful or cocky about it. They're going to know that they can trust you on every level. So it's just a perfect balance of humble confidence, and that's what I try to talk about in my charge to each of you. So that's also with everybody else's charges, and I will let the next person go next.
Try this again. Here we go. Can y'all hear me? Evening. Keith Houston, IS type. Gina kind of stole some of my thunder on humility. My charge to you is humble leadership just as well. If you were all present for Toby Ruiz, he is the most humble yet vibrant leader, senior enlisted leader that I think that I've ever met outside of Big Pond Campa and Big Pond West. Personally, on a personal level, I want almost 18 years in the Navy. I'll be retiring here come June. 12 years Army. So just for personal sake, my original enlistment date is January of 1985. Married, 4 kids. The youngest one is going to be 23 this year. A few deployments on the Army, but that's way back during the Cold War. For the Navy, for those of you that have done deployments with some SEAL teams, I was fortunate enough to do a deployment with a SEAL team as well as a SEAL team detachment during OEF. Been to some really not great places, but it was ultimately rewarding. As an IS, we were fortunate enough to be able to get enough good intel to bring home the longest DUS one from OIF, which I think the time frame was approximately 36 months, but I could be wrong. Anyway, enough about me. Any questions, please reach out to all of us that are participating during this event, and don't hesitate to reach out offline. I'm more than willing to discuss, talk, chat, whatever you want to call it.
Hey everyone, sorry, I'm a single mom. I have a baby. She's messy right now because it's bedtime, so I'm gonna try to get through this. We're occupied. YNC type, Marissa Mason. I am stationed at Res 4. I am the N2 SEL there. I'm FTS, been FTS my whole career, which is 15 years. Been to a couple of NOSCs, boat unit. I actually was in St. Louis for 7 years. I love St. Louis, so go Cards. But anyways, my charge is talking about servant leadership. It's pretty colorful when you see it. Take the time to read it right now. But my closing line is be the chief you always inspired to be. So just think about those chiefs before you that really paved the way and made a major impact, whether they be good or bad. But be that strong leader that you were like, dang, that person was on point. So just always keep that person in your mind. And congratulations on your selection. And my phone number is on my charge. You can reach out at any time. And I manage the Intel budget. So if anybody's Intel, you'll want to keep that number handy. I'll be there for 2 more years.
I'll go next. CTNC, Chris Holland. I'm the cell for Stratcom Intel Offutt Reserve Unit. We are obviously at Offutt Air Force Base in Omaha, Nebraska. And I started my career in the Marine Corps, did 8.5 years in the Marine Corps Reserves, kind of traveled a lot with them, and then came into the Navy as a CB, CM type, because that's what I did in the Marine Corps. Did a mobilization with the CBs, and finally came and got my cross rate to what I wanted to do in the Navy, which is CTN. So I've been doing that for about 8 years now. And so my charge to you is has got a lot of the same themes that you hear here. One thing I want to point out that I thought was important is, and it may seem kind of something like you should know already, but a lot of people forget about it, and that's make sure that you are looking and using the resources that you have available to you. Don't shoot from the hip. Don't give, as soon as you start just being that sea lawyer and guessing at what the answer is, you're going to start getting things wrong. There are manuals and instructions out there for everything, and there are people you can reach back to in any kind of area of the house that you need help with. Before you give a wrong answer, just like you're probably running into with throughout your season, you're trying to please the chiefs in your mess and give them an answer right away, and it's wrong. And if it's not you, then there's somebody else in your selectee group that's doing it. And I guarantee it because I've seen it every year, and I did it myself when I was a select. But if you carry that forward with you, you will lose credibility very quickly, because people will not come to you thinking that you have the answers. They'll come to you thinking that you have the wrong answers. Or worse yet, you could give somebody bad information that messes up their career, causes them to miss some gate, miss a promotion. Just be mindful of that. And I think all the themes that everybody's talking about here tonight play together into being that humble servant leader that does the right thing for everybody, for their people and the mission, whether that be their sailors or their officers. So glad to see you all here. I hope you're getting a lot out of this experience.
Is that it for okay, so I believe that's it for introduction, all that stuff. I didn't get a chance to go. I'm not sure if anyone can see me because this background might have just took me out. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah. I'm off to the side. I'm Chief Brown, real quick. Been in the Navy over 22 years. Love it. Absolutely. I'm about to retire. I will miss it, but doesn't mean I'm not going to participate. LS type, originally AK. I've done Navy, Army, Air Force training and deployment. Been always joined command. Last deployment was in 2014 with when I was with actually General Green. If you don't know who that is, take a look him up. He was the first general that was killed since we had Vietnam War. So that was my boss, left and right. And I was supposed to meet him for the Red Sox game because he was a Red Sox fan. I'm a Yankees fan. We always at a battle. And I went out, did my duty, came back, and went out on a Tuesday, found out he was killed on that Wednesday. Still remember it. So there's a lot of stuff. As far as charges go, the only thing I can tell you guys, honestly, seriously, y'all are grown people. Own what you say. Whatever you put out, own it. That's it. And if you got something to say and you got some facts, back it up. Even when you guys get into the chief mess and you're the only one that's bucking the system of, fighting against something, don't be afraid to stand up. Fear is a good thing. Fear is not bad. If you're the only one speaking and you can see everybody's eyes on you, or someone's telling you, yo man, yo bro, yo sis, and you got something to say, say it. You earn your anchors like everybody else. Say it. Own your stuff. I would say, but this is recording, so I'm being professional. Own it. You got what I'm saying? Own your words. That's it. All right, now I'll just turn it out to the floor. Anyone come in?
I do have one more thing to add real quick, because I saw it earlier. I've seen it before. I can't remember who said this quote, and I don't know the entire quote, but I know the first part of it said, the second that they stop coming to you and the second you stop getting questions from sailors or getting questions from your peers, the second they don't come to you, you stop leading. So make sure if you haven't gotten a question, at least one a day, there's something wrong. Because as a chief, you're going to get them all the time. So if you start seeing those questions dwindling down, or you start seeing not as many people coming to you, that means they don't trust you. That means they don't think you have the answers for them and that you're not leading them. So don't let that happen. Don't fall off. Don't hide behind your anchors and just become some other person that hides out in the chief's mess. Be out there, answer the questions, and make sure you're the person they come to.
Awesome. I'm AGCM Smart. I'm the regional SAL for NIFR region, Washington, D.C. And so I hail from Gulfport, Mississippi. And so I'm cross-assigned. I've loved my time up in D.C. It's been over 3 years now and looking for my transition. Been in 30 years, literally, and I will be in the VTU come the end of this FY, but I'm still excited to continue to serve. So congratulations to all of you. I'm excited that you're here. I mean, this is great. I hope you learn a lot about heritage and networking. It's a great opportunity. I'm really glad you took this time. Remember where you came from. You know, there were people who supported you coming up in the ranks, and remember to thank those, including your family, who helped you get to where you are today. Also, we are charged to train our replacements. That includes our JOs. A lot of times we forget, it seems, what I've seen around my region, that is part of our charge as Chief Petty Officers, is to train our JOs and make sure that they're prepared to be future leaders in the Navy. Be active in the mess. We cannot be what we are today if we don't have active members, regardless of where you are, and regardless
Hey, Leanne, you're starting to break up for us.
Dan, you're breaking up.
I will tell you that has reaped huge benefits for me through. Oh, so sorry. Okay. Hold on just a second. I'm trying to find a different location to talk. I'm in like a concrete building, literally. So bear with me here. All right.
We can hear you better now if you want to continue on and finish up.
Okay. No, that's awesome. I'm by a door, so hopefully I won't lose comms. So, you know, we are only as strong as our mess, and you have to be active, right? So we come from all different backgrounds. We bring a lot of different things to the mess. And, you know, whether you're active, full-time support, or a selective reservist, if you're going anywhere, you know, reach out and find out who's there and introduce yourself and be engaged. You know, we all bring assets to the team. Congratulations. I'm really excited that you're here. I hope you learn a lot while you're a part of this evolution and bring it back to your selectee teams. And as you've heard multiple times through this evolution, we look forward to seeing you in years to come to support this evolution in whatever capacity it's going to be hosted. I do have a charge for you all, and that is to read the Chief Petty Officer's mission, vision, and guiding principles, and to let me know what your thoughts are on that. And I can be reached via my Navy email. It's lee.smart, S-M-A-R-T, @navy.mil. And CTIC Select can give you my point of contact if you didn't get that. So read the Chief Petty Officer's mission, vision, guiding principles, and get back to me on your thoughts on what you've read, if you haven't done that already with your teams. Congratulations, and off to the next person. We'll see you soon.
All right, I think the majority of everybody has gone. Sorry, I'm on my work computer, so my camera doesn't work. And I know you guys already know me since I'm your boat team captain, and I've already introduced myself. But for the genuines who don't know who I am, which I don't think is too many of you, I am Senior Chief Steve Mathias, CTN type. I am the NIFR Region North N7 LCPO, and I'm the Boat Team 1 team captain. So I've been in for 21 years. Actually, Chief Select Labresh and I were at A school together, going through CTI A school together. So pretty cool. She knows my wife, so it's kind of cool. Married, 2 kids, that kind of thing. So my charge to you guys is, you're going to hear this a lot in a lot of the charges that you guys get, to remain humble. Remember, it's no longer about you. The competition for being the best is now over. So that hard charging, trying to get that EP, doing better than everybody else, that's all over. There's really no award for being the CPO of the quarter or being the CPO of the year. Your accomplishments now are what you do for your sailors. And if you're in a joint environment, that's sailors, Marines, airmen, soldiers. You know, your accomplishments are what they do, how they succeed. And their successes and their failures are a direct reflection of your leadership. So remember that. And that's pretty much, that's all I got. So on to the next person.
You're really good at karaoke too, just so they know.
Thanks, Gina.
All right, selectees, you have the floor. You can ask the genuines anything. So let's roll.
I've got one. So, and this is for anyone, not one specific person, but I'm really interested to know, when you made chief, who was the first chief that you called and why?
I'll jump in real quick. Who is the first chief I called? It's kind of in reverse. I was called by a senior chief, and picture this, okay? It's end of June, beginning of July, right before 4th of July. I'm standing on top of a pool trying to clean it, and was called and said, hey, congratulations, prepare to copy, with about a 10-minute diatribe of things I needed to know over the course of the next 3 days. And given the phone number of a fellow select that I was expected to call and pass on information. And that phone call lasted all of about 5 minutes. So what I did was, at that point in time, like, stood there in utter shock for a good 2 to 3 minutes, got down off the pool, went in, told my wife, hey, guess what? I made chief. She said, great, now, what the heck are you going to do? Almost 10, 11 years later, here I am in front of you. You know, if you haven't figured it out by now, your spouse, significant other, whatever, they are just as much a part of this as you are. She is the chief of my family on a personal level. In fact, she was given an anchor when I was pinned. So, you know, remember that when you get to that point here at the end of the month.
I'll jump in on this one. So I was previously active duty a long time ago, back when I was kind of a troublemaker, and I didn't feel that I had a lot of really good chief leadership while I was on active duty, which is one of the reasons why I got out. And it wasn't until I joined the reserves later that I went to a command that had, like, not one good chief, but like multiple good chiefs, right? And it kind of showed me what leadership was supposed to be, and how, you know, I started to feel empowered and motivated, and I could see that, you know, maybe that's the path that I could go, was as a chief. And I think when I first found out that I made it, the main chief from that unit, like the one who really made me feel like I was a part of something again, he's the one I wanted to call first. And, you know, there were only probably a handful of, you know, chiefs that first day where I was like, thank you, right? Like, thank you for your help. and they were all the ones who actually impacted the way that I felt about the Navy, and the way that I felt about my duties. Yeah, the duties that I had to my peers, and helping develop them. And yeah, so I think the people I called were the ones who inspired me to be better. And that is my answer to your question.
All right, what else y'all got?
MAC Select Phelps here. What was, after getting pinned, what was the one thing each of you were most nervous about once putting on the anchors, like going towards your unit, deployments, that sort of thing? What were you most nervous about after getting pinned?
So I'll jump in here real quick, and I'm sure every single one of my brothers and sisters are on here has a different story, but literally the day of pinning, walking out of the spaces that we were in for the pinning and walking across the street to go get just a bottle of water. I had a second class come up behind me and go, "Hey, Chief." And I had to take a good quick second plus to realize he was talking to me. And I had to spin around and reply, "Hey, what's up, shipmate? What can I do for you?" And that turned into an hour plus conversation about some issues that he was dealing with. And all of the weight of the anchors that you wear and own was right then and there. So be prepared for that.
I can jump in on this one. So my first thought, I walked out my khakis and I had like 3 seconds to think, and I was like, oh my God, I still don't know what I'm doing. And but there was all these sailors around. So there was this TED talk that they gave us to watch as a task when I was going through my season, and it was fake it till you become it, not fake it till you make it, fake it till you actually become it. I was like, all right, I got to act like I know what I'm doing. And every time I had a question, I would just like, I'll be right back, I'll be right back. And I'd walk through the mess, ask the question, walk right back out and circle around, be like, there's the question, or there's the answer. But I remember it was like the next day, and I was just at the uniform shop in the next, getting some new uniform stuff, of course. And this like seaman, brand new seaman, is next to me, and he's like, "Hey, Chief," and the same thing. I was like, "Oh, that's me. Okay, what?" And I looked over, and he was like, "I got a new garrison cover. Where am I supposed to put this pin?" And in my head, I'm like, "Oh my God, I haven't worn a garrison cover in years." And so he asked me, and I couldn't say I don't know. You can't say you don't know when you're a chief. And I was like, I'm not going to Google it. I'm just going to look. And I started looking around at different uniform pictures until I figured out, I'm like, this is where it goes. Because I didn't want to seem, like I said, that humble confidence. I didn't want to seem arrogant and just put it somewhere and then make him look bad if it was in the wrong spot. I wanted to make sure he was good to go. But I mean, so I mentioned that I came from active. I was active for 11 years. I thought I was just going to slide right into the reserves. I was like one of the sailors of the year for fleet forces. I was like always on top of my game, and I thought I was just going to slide right in and understand everything. And I didn't. And I realized it took me about a year to really get the grasp on what it meant to be a reservist, as opposed, because it's, you go through like the whole 12 months. It's the same thing. Once I put the anchors on, I realized it was still like a whole year's transition period for me. I was just learning and learning and learning and learning. So yes, you have to have that confidence once you put the anchors on, because people are going to see you and they're not going to know if you've had them on for 10 years or 2 days. They're going to assume you've had them on for a long time. That's just what they do. So you're going to have that confidence without the arrogance, and really figure out how to like just fake it till you become it. Like, you put those anchors on, you have to be the chief. So it's pretty intimidating when you walk out and you realize how much weight that actually carries with it.
I would say what I was most nervous about at the time of my pinning was I was staying at my same unit. So I was going from LPO to chief in the same department, surrounded by first classes who didn't make chief. And that is not an easy transition. It's the first drill weekend for me as a reservist was very awkward because you have to start setting those boundaries. Because now you're that person in charge, and sometimes they have mixed feelings about not making it. Sometimes they're very supportive, and there were a couple where I was worried because I knew there was going to be a little bit of tenseness, just from those kind of natural feelings of, not making it year after year. And so if you're going to be in a position like that, just be prepared to be understanding, but, you got to start just a little bit of boundaries. You can't be the buddy anymore. Because now you're the one making the decisions. So just be prepared. That's it can be a really tough balance. But I would say when I got pinned, that's what I was most nervous about.
Something real quick I wanted to caveat on these great speakers. When you were talking about getting pinned, one of my biggest fears was, you're no longer, HM1 or IT1 or CTI1. You're the chief. So everything that you do, everything that you say, no longer reflects just on you. It reflects on the entire mess. So when you make a mistake or when you lead a sailor down a wrong road, they're not thinking, oh, HMC just jacked up. They're thinking the chief's mess is jacked up. So remember that you represent the entire mess and everything that you do. You may or may not have heard that a chief is a chief, even in their shower shoes. That's exactly what that means. So it doesn't matter where you are always the chief. People will always see you as the chief. So you may not be in uniform, you may be out on liberty, you may be doing something else, but somebody around you knows you as the chief. So be careful what you do and what you say at all times. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So for me, it wasn't about the time that I got pinned. It was about 3 months later. I was doing really well. I had a great chief that I was going to be learning under. He was actually my co-chair for my season. Was having a great time learning under him, and then he got tagged for a mob, and I was now the unit SEL. I had no clue what I was going to do. Yeah, talk about a humbling experience. It was a real eye-opener. You heavily rely on the mess, and even more so in that situation. You had, first classes that you were friends with. You can't be friends with them like that anymore, right? You learn real quick. It was very humbling. Yeah, so just a little plug there for the NIFR sailors. Go do the CEL JQR because it will definitely help you. It's a very big eye opener.
Senior, what did you say to do for the NIFR sailors?
Yeah, sorry. So for the NIFR sailors, and it eventually this is going to get to the bigger Navy, hopefully. We have a CEL JQR that we are putting on. It'll walk you through like the systems that are out there, the instructions, that kind of thing, and then it helps also build that camaraderie, get you guys to know more people within the NIFR mess.
Thank you.
All right, what else you guys got?
I want to throw this out on top of what Steve just said about, it doesn't have to be this, the CEL JQR course is great. And I'm a NIFR, Navy Information Forces Reserve sailor as well. And I've been to the course and I think it's great. I help instruct it now. But there are all kinds of courses. Get out there and get involved in leadership courses. Get involved in chief activities. Get involved in activities that are your rate related, but at a higher level, because those are the events you're going to meet people at. Meet chiefs that can help you now or later in your career. Maybe they're the ones that have the answer. Maybe the people that you're working with here right now are going to be somebody that you're going to reach out to. Hopefully, you're putting everybody in your phone book that or in your address book that you're meeting this throughout the season, not just here, but throughout your entire season. Because I still reach back to people that I met, 4 or 5 seasons ago that flew in because they had that one guy and they wanted to see them get pinned, and then now that they're the ones that I need to reach out to because I know they have the answer. Get involved in things, whatever that thing is, and meet other chiefs. Get involved in big events like this because it can broaden your world really quick.
I have a question if we're done with that one. So what was the hardest habit for you to break when you went from first class to chief? And did you successfully do it early or took a while?
Hanging out with my friends. Oh gosh, like I had people I had been on deployments with, and actually one of them I just got a call and told him he made first class, because when we deployed together in 2008, I was a first class, he was a second, and we kind of lined up our careers, and we've been such great friends. And when I made chief, like he wouldn't even call me chief. Like he was so mad at me because he had such disdain for the chief's mess that he had worked for before, and like he was mad at me for a solid year. He wouldn't talk to me. And then he finally apologized, and like he was like, "I'm really sorry, I wasn't trying to," but and that was the least thing I expected from him. But there was other people too that I was friends with, and they even though we had been friends forever, deployed together, all this stuff as petty officers, they still didn't know how to act around me. And I was like, I'm still the same person, but it was just that balance, knowing that when we were on orders together, I couldn't just go out to the bar and have a bunch of drinks with all the junior sailors. Like I couldn't do it. I had to be the example. I had to set the example. And even though some of them are still my best friends today, it's just there's a shift in the dynamic of it. And it doesn't mean you're not their friends anymore. You're still their friend. It's just now you're their leader. And that's a very hard adjustment for a lot of people. That was the hardest for me.
Yeah, I can speak to this one too. Thanks, Gina. That's definitely one of the big ones there. So we're all chiefs, about to enter the mess. You don't get here by sitting on your butt, right? You want to be helpful to people, helpful to your sailors. You want to help the command. You're always volunteering. You're always doing extra things to get you ready to be a chief, right? To get all the experience that you need. So now when you enter the mess, it's not, you don't want to have helium arms that just go up anytime anybody needs to volunteer for anything, because you need to prioritize your time effectively. So learning how to say no tactfully. So when somebody offers you a position on a team or a collateral, and you have too much on your plate, you have responsibilities at work, with family time, or anything like that. Learn how to say, I appreciate the consideration, and I think X sailor would be an excellent choice, and here's why. And that goes a long way to being an effective chief, in my opinion. It took me years to learn that.
So I have one thing, and as stupid as it sounds, and I still, I've been a chief for 3 years, is calling, like you go into the mess and you're like, you're used to seeing master chiefs, and now you're calling them by their first name, and you're like, oh man, and sometimes to me it still catches me off guard. I know it's really stupid, but it catches me off guard, and I'm like, man, am I being respectful? Am I not being respectful? Because these are people that I still look up to, and I'm like, man, okay, what's up, Tracy? When my CMC calls me, or I'm like, hey, brother, and it's really hard, but it's really unique. So that's it, though. It's kind of stupid.
You're good, sis. That's an awesome point. So, selectees, real quick, I just have to remind you guys, for your charge book, all you have to do is just go into the fantail section, the files folder, and it says charge book entries. You guys can download everything. That's in there, okay? All right, so that's good for you guys. And you've been hearing from the chiefs, like when they first got told and so forth. You know, when they first got told that they were chiefs and so forth. So what about you guys? Some of you guys that already talked, I've seen Marcus.
I gotta tell my story. I know I've talked, but I gotta tell it. I'll try to make it quick. So everyone's fully expecting me to make chief 1 year. And I was like Sailor of the Year for 2 different commands, this, that, like big commands too, like fleet commands. I was a rock star, right? Everyone thought I was gonna make it. And so I was also due to have my youngest. I have 5 kids, and I was due to have my youngest around the time results were going to come out. And that was fine, but no one knows that they're going to give birth in a car on the way to the hospital when you're prepared for an epidural and all this kind of stuff, right? And so we're on the way. I end up giving birth in the car. Traumatic experience, right? And like 2 hours later, I didn't get a phone call. I got a text message saying you didn't make it. And I was like devastated and like all emotional from giving birth in a car and just all this stuff. And so the next year I had given up. I didn't stop working, but I was like, I'm never going to make chief. If I didn't make it last year, I'm never going to make it. So I wouldn't even carry my phone on me because I had so much like stress from the last year of finding out I didn't make it. I was like, nope, I don't want the phone call. So I left my phone off. And that night I turned it on and I had like tons of voicemails, and they were all voicemails from my SEL saying like, hey, your government travel card's messed up. You have to call me now. We have to get this fixed. And I was really annoyed and really mad. Like already I wasn't wanting a phone call from anybody, less that one. So I called him back, and I'm never disrespectful to but I probably sounded disrespectful. And I was like, what do you want? And he goes, I'm not calling about your government travel card. I'm calling to tell you made chief. We've been trying to get a hold of you all day. No one else is allowed to know until you know. And I was just like, I froze. I was like, it was like this. I was like, what do I do now? Like, I never thought I was going to make it. Like, I didn't make it. How did I make it this year? And I had all these questions, and he started laughing at me. And I'm still in the mess, known as the person that wouldn't answer their phone the day that everybody was trying to find out who made it, and nobody could get a hold of me. So the SEL wouldn't tell anybody who made it. It's like 8 o'clock at night, and that's when I started. Yep, it was crazy. But I tried to make that quick. Someone else can talk.
And so we've got about 4 minutes, but we've got around 3 minutes. But just for the selectees, so just to let us close it out, how many of you guys were really shocked you made it? Seriously. And how many of you guys real quick thought, yeah, I knew I was going to make it? Come on.
Show of hands. Show of hands.
Turn your cameras on. Turn your mics off. Let's hear it.
I was really shocked that I made it, because it was actually like my first time up for it, and just doing my job. And one of my biggest fears is I was the Sailor of the Year for my command, and I'm like, oh gosh, they have so much faith in me. I'm the Sailor of the Year. What if I don't make board? That was a huge fear for me, to not make board that first time taking the test as a Sailor of the Year. But I did make board, and yeah, I was just shocked that I made it.
Next.
Yeah, it was my first time up as well. So I guess I was obviously knew there was a possibility. I'd done what I could do, but first time up, it wasn't necessarily like I thought I had a good chance, but obviously pleasantly surprised.
So this is my second time up, and the way I found out is pretty funny. So I went to Scott Air Force Base with the agency that I work with, and it was the day that results were coming out, right? So he said, hey, if you get a call, I guarantee it's going to happen when we're in this skiff. So we go in the skiff, and I heard my phone ringing, right? I was like, there's no way, dude. Like, because it was kind of late. So Mar Flores, we're always late on everything. So I come out, and I get a text, and it said, oh, so I don't rate a call, Chief Select? So I called the senior chief back, and that's how I found out. A text message saying that I should have answered the phone while I was in the skiff. But yeah, I was shocked. It was my second time up. I didn't think so.
So this was my first time up too, and mine was a little bit unique as well because I was just getting off a deployment with DevGru, and I just got done with ECRC, so I was detached from ECRC, and I wasn't regained by my NOSC yet. So when the results came out, I was hoping for a phone call, but it went like, I would say almost a week until someone finally found me in limbo and then made the call to me. So I was excited after that.
Cody?
I definitely.
I didn't think I was going to make it because I was at 20 years. This is my third time up. So I've been giving it a good shot every time and then finally made it. So I was pretty surprised.
One minute over. Just go ahead.
So I didn't think I was going to make it. I've had an interesting career. I've actually been ADSEPT twice. I lost my clearance for a minute. I was the LPO when I lost my clearance, meaning I couldn't be the LPO anymore. When that went down, finally came back. I was assistant career counselor. I didn't get that taken away from me, but I threw it back in their face because the career counselor decided instead of leaving the unit, he was going to stay and keep it. So I was like, screw you, I'm done. I'm not doing this. So I went from the exact opposite of sustained superior performance. I went LPO, assistant career counselor, to no collaterals whatsoever. And only my second time up. It's been fun. Definitely fun.
So this is my 7th time up, and because I've been eligible pretty much every year since I got promoted to first class, and I was set to retire because I'm old and I'm tired and I've been working my butt off for a long time. And I'd kind of gotten zen about it, right? Like sometimes things just don't happen, and that doesn't make what I've done in the Navy or the people that I've helped like any less, but I really wanted to make it. So I didn't think I was going to do it, but here I am. So I guess I'm not retiring.
Nice. Marcus? You're muted. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. I spoke early on. I was the my first time up. Mine was a little bit unique. Like I said, I came back from deployment, so I didn't get a phone call that I made chief until like a week later. So I wasn't gained by my NOSC yet. I was detached by ECRC. So eventually, someone from the old command down at the beach called me. So
Nice. All right. So everybody that if you need to talk to any of the genuine offline, that's fine. But it's 20:02, so we went 2 minutes over. But this was good feedback, seriously. So if you ever need to talk to any of the genuines, go ahead and hit it up. I got called. I was in Tahiti. I was on my 2-week break from being deployed for over a year in Afghanistan. And they called me the day I landed after an 18-hour flight. And I believe I hanged up on the chief. And then they called me back and told me to read Unbreakable. And I was like, I ain't reading nothing. I'm going to bed. That was it. And then after that, I got like all slammed. But it's all good. Good time. All right. Select. You guys are dismissed. Genuine. And Fantail. Hit up any one of the chiefs on this call if you ever need to talk to them, all right? We're all here for you, man. It was good getting to know you guys. Be safe and congratulations.
thank you.
Thank you all.
Have a good
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.